Clip Studio Paint for beginners. So you have Clip Studio Paint and you want to know how to use it. In this video I'll teach you how to make a new canvas, tell you what some of these brushes do, and I'll also tell you about layers. So let's start. First you go to make a new canvas, you go to File, New, to make a canvas. And then you'll have this pop up, and this is how you can create a canvas. Or you can do Control N and it will create a canvas. There are many things you can do with Clip Studio Paint, but let's just go with the default. We'll make an illustration. Choose how the size of it. I'm going to do 180 by 180. And then click OK. Or if you want to change the color, you can click the paper color and then change it to whatever you want. But I'm going to keep it white for now. Click OK. Now here, this is your canvas. There you start with the pen brush automatically, unless you clicked something else before you created the canvas, but pen brush. So what does the pen brush do? It's streaks. There are different types of pens. There's the mapping pen and the real G pen, and they have different textures and stuff. You can look at it by this bar and you can scroll. Then you can also click markers, another tab, and look at the different types of marker brushes that Clip Studio Paint has. Underneath that, here is the tool properties. The opacity, like this is maximum opacity, and here is like very low opacity, even though these two colors are both black. Then there's the brush size, which you can change here. Very big, very small. Then if you go down, and let me just go to the regular G pen, you can look at the brush size here. It has its own little scroll menu, and you can click these pre-selected ones if you are in a hurry. So now let's talk about a very important brush called the eraser. It erases what you would expect it. It has different types of eraser, like a soft eraser, a kneaded eraser, and again you can look at it. It's the same pretty much, and so you can just erase hard. It just makes a perfectly white erase, so you can erase everything. So now let's talk about these brushes. There's the pencil. It is like a pencil. There's also different tabs. Look at all of the brushes, see which ones you like. The pencil brush is good for making sketches and stuff. Then there's the brush, and it's a brush. I don't know what to say more. It's good for coloring. Then there's the airbrush, sort of like spray paint. Now here's something that's really useful with Clip Studio Paint, the effects. Clip Studio Paint comes with these effect brushes, which are super useful. So if we have like 80, and you can have sparkles or just blood, glitter, and that's just the effects. Then you can go to background. You can have patches of grass, you can have leaves, you can have some ground, you can make trees, you can even make some buildings, books. They're super useful if you don't want to draw. Then there's clothing, lace, chains, and hatchings, and then ruled lines. You can make melodies and stuff. Then underneath that, there is the eraser, which we have already talked about. And underneath the eraser, there's the blending tool. So the blending tool, if you have two colors, we have this one and this one. Let me make the brush size bigger. And there. And if we go to the blending tool, you can blend these two colors together into a blend. There are different types of blend. You can blur them. You can like do the push thing with the fingertip. Many types blend. You won't need to, if you're just starting out, you don't need to change the brushes a lot. You can just use the default. Then, let me erase this quickly. Then let's talk about some other useful ones. The eyedropper. Let's say you make something here and then something here, and you're like, I want this specific green shade, but I can't find that specific green shade. It's always different. If you go to the eyedropper tool and click it, you will go to that color immediately. Then there's the selection area. You can select it and you can move it. Very simple. You can also move the selection area. You can rotate the selection. You can scale it like that. And once you're done, you can just deselect it. Then you can move the entire layer by this move one. You can move the canvas around with this hand tool, and you can rotate the canvas with this rotation tool. So yeah, but you don't want to click every time you're doing something, so you should memorize the commands. So the commands are to go to pen immediately, no waiting. So now let's say your canvas is moved here and you just want the canvas to be perfectly in the Clip Studio. You can do Control O and it will be perfect. You can do the minus sign to rotate it. Or if you go down here, there's a bar which you can rotate it by. There, you can rotate here, here, or just like that. Then there is to zoom in, Control plus. So here, now it's in pixels because I'm very zoomed in. Control minus to zoom out. Control O to be perfect again. And if you want to move the canvas, you click the space bar and wow, you can look around. Control to O to get it in the middle. Now you want to go to the eraser, click E, E for eraser, easy to remember. Then if you want to go to pen, click the P. To go to the pencil, you click P again. So if you're on anything, like if I go to the eyedropper and I click P, it will immediately send me to pen. So you have to click P twice to go to pencil. Then there's B for brush, B 2 times to go to airbrush, and B a 3rd time to go to the effects. Then to blend, it is J. And again, to erase it all, it is E. So there's also a way to quickly change your brush size. So these presets here, you can click the square brackets, these ones. So this one will increase the brush size, and this one will decrease it. So if I click this one, the opening square brackets, my brush size is shrinking, and as you can see there, it's shrinking. If I click the opening, closing brackets, what am I saying? Then it will increase the brush size. Works for all of them, and there. Now we have, then underneath it, there's the fill tool. It's a fill tool, simple, draw a square or any shape, and you can fill it with the color. Line tool. You can make lines. You can look. You can even make shapes with this one. Circles. Rulers. You can insert a ruler. You can have a linear ruler, which pretty much is just a line, but if you put it on it, you can do pressure sensitivity and stuff, so some might like it more, but it makes a straight line. Then there's like symmetrical rulers, the useful ones, like if I draw something over here, it'll draw on both sides, like that. And if you want to get rid of the rulers, because now that I've added the symmetrical ruler, this ruler will pretty much be here forever. To get rid of it, you have to go to the right hand side, and this is the layers. Here you can see the zoom, what we're looking at right now. The red line is what we're seeing, and you can move it around, or Control O to go back to the middle. Here you can zoom in. Here you can also rotate again. So here, this is the layer tab. If you click this, the ruler button, this triangular ruler, click the trash icon and delete it. It will say delete all rulers in a selected layer. Do you want to proceed? And click delete, it'll be there. You have to be careful with this, because if you insert a ruler and then forget to click on the ruler symbol, you'll see it'll have a white outline. But if I'm like on the regular thing, and it'll say delete selected layer, and that would mean you would delete everything on the layer. So if I delete the selected layer, wow, totally gone. Control Z to undo, basic command. Then here. Now, let's make a new layer. If you go here and click this one, this icon, new raster layer, and click it, you can create a new layer. Layers, I hope you already know this, but go on top of each other. So I'm on the bottom layer, layer 1, and if I draw something, it will always be underneath layer 2, which is the green here. With the layers, you can change the opacity of the entire layer. So it's black right now. If I go here, I can lower it. I can also merge the top layer with the layer below. So if I click this button, the merge with layer below, you can hover it to see what it does. It will turn into one layer. Then there's another thing you can do with the layers, which is also useful. So you have this and you want to be like, oh, I don't like black for it, I want this green color. But you don't know how, but you want this thing to be perfect. You can just click this icon, it will clip it to the layer below. So if I draw something here, I'm clicking down in case you don't know, it won't show up anything. But I am in fact actually drawing on it, because if I unclip from layer below, I'm drawing here. The second I clip it to layer below, I won't. It will only show up where I drew on the layer before. So I can just quickly change the color of my thing very simply. Erase that, actually just delete it, and then erase this part. Yeah, that's the layers done pretty much. I have showed you about the brushes. Now let me show you something else. If you go here, there are these buttons, and if you click on them, this will slide open and you'll have this tab called All Materials. It will show you all of the materials, and you can download each of them, but let me tell you what they do first. Here is the patterns. There are patterns. You can insert them and it'll insert. It creates a new layer whenever you insert something from the materials. You can choose the texture. There's manga material, like you can make text boxes and edit it. image materials, you can insert a zipper, another zipper. The 3D materials. The 3D materials are really useful. Click the arrow to see them. But yeah, the 3D materials. Let me quickly delete all of these layers that I've created. Delete. So here, I can insert a 3D drawing figure. And here, I have, let load, a human being. And the best part about this human being is that I can move it around. So I can move it up, I can turn it, and I can also grab its points and like rotate them. It rotates the entire one there. But if I grab this arm, it will, you can move it. You can, with this, you can make cool poses, like a running pose or something. And then if you make a layer on top, lower this layer's opacity, because that, and then create a new layer, you can, let me close this, trace, and wow, you can draw humans now. So if this is really useful for drawing humans and people. There's also other stuff, but that's not really important. The cool things are the people. You can also, there also has some pre-made poses, like this one. Here are the things you can, this one to rotate it, this one to rotate it, but in another way, and this one to move it. Go back, come forward, and you can move it. So it has some pre-existing poses, and you can do this to use it as a reference. So that's pretty much how to draw in Clip Studio Paint. Wait, no, I didn't even talk about the color wheel. Okay, so here, this is the color wheel. The color wheel is very simple. This is the bright colors, so if you spin the color, you want it yellow, green. It's the very tip over here. And then here you can choose the different shades. How bright it will be, how dark it will be, that stuff. Then if you don't like the color wheel, you can use the bars. So you can change the color by RGB and that. You can go to the palette and look at the pre-existing colors, like there's black, white, the most saturated colors, and then they lower. Then there's this one, so in a specific distance, because this is very small, you can look at the colors, red, black. Then here it is the same thing, but that, and here it is just random colors. I think, I have no idea, but yeah, this is the color palette, and you can just choose colors. That is about it. You can, yeah.